Well, thank you very much. Well, I was suggest what the chairperson suggested that I say a few words about Hiroshima. But, I think you have heard quite a bit about Hiroshima. So, but I am feeling the weight of the memory of close to 80 years. All that memory is put together in 1 hour of film. But it's so heavy for me. That was my journey. I'm exhausted just watching this. Well, you can start.
I think we all definitely feel that way after watching that film. It's so very powerful, and thank you so much for all of your work. I just want to check. Do we have Vancouver on the line? Pat? Do we have Vancouver?
They haven't called me yet.
Okay, so we're hoping to do this interactive with people who are in Vancouver at the moment, but we're not hearing from them yet. So we'll, thank you again so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for everybody.
Just a minute.
Oh,
it's another bag.
Oh, there's another
Just a minute. Yeah, I have it.
I do also want to thank the audience for everyone who submitted questions ahead of time, and everybody virtually as well who submitted those questions. And again, thank you so much for joining us. So I know everybody here online in Vancouver are looking forward to hearing from you. So I'll start with the first question. So I know we heard a lot about in the film about how your activism started, but I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about how you made the decision to start your activism on this issue.
I graduated from university in 1954, and that summer I came to the United States. I received a scholarship to study social work in United States, so I came. That was 1954, the very significant year, because I think it was March 1st of that year, United States had been testing hydrogen bomb, and the biggest hydrogen bomb was tested at the Bikini Atoll in Marshall Islands. And that was a huge surprise for us. As the film explained to you, Japanese fishermen died, and all the huge tuna fish, frozen tuna fish, they were using the Geiger machine, but every one of them made a huge noise. All these tuna have to be thrown away into the Pacific Ocean. It was a huge loss. But Japanese people realized the United States was not satisfied with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Now, they are creating the problem, similar problem in the Pacific. Well, we better watch out. The United States is preparing for nuclear war. And at that time, the biggest social movement in Japan started. The public came out onto the streets, and everybody wrote a statement and sent them to the government. They wanted 50 grams. Anyway, that is the year when I came to the United States. And the first thing I experienced was the press conference. Here is the survivor from Hiroshima. Let's hear what she has to say about the bikini incident. And I was fresh out of college, naive, full of visions and ideals. And I honestly shared my idea that the United States should not be testing more weapons, because testing means the preparation for more sophisticated nuclear weapons. So, my idea was for the United States to stop. Naively, I said that. And next morning, that was the news in the local paper. I started getting unsigned hate letters. How dare you? You're criticizing my country's nuclear policy. Who is giving the scholarship? Go home. But I just arrived. I was being told to go home. And I couldn't stay in a dormitory at the university. It was too dangerous. So I moved out, stayed with the professor's home, and I had a whole week by myself just to do the soul searching. What am I going to do? Can I survive living in this country? It was a traumatic experience. But I'm happy to be able to say that I came out of that trauma with a stronger conviction. No, I have the responsibility. I experienced it. I know it. And I should share that information, knowledge. If I don't, who does? I said to myself, it was my moral obligation to humanity. I keep talking about it. So, it was painful, but a very significant experience for myself. And I think many people listen to me, and I have witnessed the changes in the people's mind. So you suggested that what was the beginning of my activism. So that was it. That doesn't mean that I was constantly strong, brave, fearless. Well, there were times when I said, well, should I give up? I felt lonely, especially after my husband passed away. But still, people around me supported me. My son tried to take his father's place in my life. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I think we also right now have Sachi, who's in Vancouver right now, on the phone right now. But she's hoping to speak a little bit about the film.
Yes. Hi. Hello. Yeah. Okay. We are ready. Yeah. Hello. Okay. Our class is going to start to start, and then we have a microphone. Oh, this goes down. Long time no see. This is Sachi. I'm so moved with your mood today.
I'm so moved.
I feel encouraged me. That's wonderful
It's
so good. And you're great. This is Kathy.
This is Sachi.
I'm Kathy Ramel from Vancouver. We just watched your movie
We just watched your
almost,
movie.
I think about over 64 years together.
I think
And
about
we are so moving and great movie. Setsuko, you should need to eat YouTube or maybe especially after to get it because I often talk to high school or school children about my experience level eat. So I want to show them if it's possible. That's my request to you, and you are great, still healthy, and I would say God is really protecting, having you. You are big blessing. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, it's hard to hear.
Sachi's husband, Charles.
Oh, this is Sachi's husband,
こんにちは。
Konnichiwa.
ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
よかったですよ。We hope our movie will be turned into YouTube. So the world can see and witness your wonderful movement, and we can have Canada and Japan buying the treaties for prohibition of nuclear weapons. Thank you.
Thank you, Sachi-san. You know, in this vast country of Canada, to live as survivor of Hiroshima has been a very lonely experience, really. When I started forming the groups and started various actions in Toronto in 1975, the 30th anniversary of Hiroshima, I have two other survivors of Hiroshima to work with me. We share the work, but both of them have passed away. As far as I know, I am only one in Toronto. If I was living in Japan, there are lots of other fellow survivors who can support each other and make steps forward together. But that kind of luxury doesn't exist. I just depend on the friendship and work together with the people with a like-minded spirit. And I didn't see her image, but I hope she's all right. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Sachi, and it's really meaningful for us to be able to connect the two of you this way across the country, because there's so few of you in Canada. I want to go to the next question. So this year marks 88 years since both of the bombings, and just over 80 years since the beginning of the internment of Japanese Canadians. How do you see these histories as connected, and what lessons should we carry forward as Japanese Canadians today?
In my mind, certainly there is racism which motivated that kind of action here. And for bombing in Hiroshima and Nagasaki too. Racism was the basis of that decision Mr. Truman made. Yes, I see that.
So,
Thinking about that, oh, I forgot, I have to add this. I studied the life of Canada's Prime Minister at that time, Mackenzie King. In his diary, he did write that he was happy those bombs were used on the Japanese city instead of on the people of white race. That's what he wrote. But that's just one another evidence how strongly the racism determined our fate.
yeah, absolutely. It's really quite jarring to hear that. As the survivors are growing older, how can communities like ours, both Hamilton, the Japanese Canadian community, but especially our younger generations, carry forward the memory of Hiroshima and ensure it remains part of our collective identity and advocacy, and make sure it never happens again? Like, what would you really like to see the young people who are listening today, what do you want them to do?
I want the young people here to be responsible citizens of democracy. If you I think first step is viewing a film like this. You get some feeling of what was happening historically at that time. What were the political decisions made? How that changed human life and conditions. So we have a lot of studying, learning to do, especially young people. Learn as much as you can, not only the political science, but history, everything. Information becomes knowledge, and together with the knowledge, I think emotional involvement with the issues. If this film did anything to stir your spirit, change that spirit by doing more reading, more thinking, and talk about it with family, school friends. You can't deal with this by yourself. Learn it together. And when you have some idea what this is all about, I'm sure you feel you have to take some action, and do take action. What kind of action? Well, this is a political issue. The politicians have to make a decision for change. So what do? You can write your own statement or letters, send them to the local media, and send them to members of parliament. Try to set the change at every level, city council, even the MPP, the MP. And that's how you can begin to change. It takes time, patience, but the change can happen. And in a struggle, we were able to make that new treaty at the United Nations, the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. It was a struggle. We spent over 10 years working on that. When I say we, the people around the world, like-minded people, came together. We said a lot of things which are happening at the United Nations is inappropriate, dangerous. We gotta see the change. For example, we have nuclear non-proliferation treaty that was agreed upon and it became the treaty. But guess what? The very important action they promised to fulfill, that is to those nuclear weapon states. Every state which has nuclear weapon will work together to reduce and eliminate the nuclear weapon. That was a legal commitment those nuclear weapon states made. And that was over 50 years ago. Aren't you surprised? I was surprised when I found that information when I got to the United Nations. Politicians' statement made a decision, signed a paper, it became the treaty, but they haven't followed through. Oh, that came into force in 1970. So over 50 years, no progress has been made. Why? Because the state which has the nuclear weapons don't want to give up. They say they would, but they want to hang on to their nuclear weapon. This is the reality that really upset me. I hope that information upsets you as well. That's the kind of thing which is happening at the United Nations. So, when this new treaty was adopted, it was 122 states which said, yes, we want to get rid of all the nuclear weapons. They said yes to the treaty proposal. But 9 states which had a nuclear weapon, United States, UK, France, Russia, China, plus 4 non-members of the United States, United Nations, India, Pakistan, Israel, North Korea. So altogether, 9 states said, we don't want to give up. So you can imagine, small number of the states is really keeping the rest of the world as hostage. Is it democracy at work? There are many very grave unsolved problems, and we have to work on it step by step. But we don't have much time. The way the Gaza or Ukraine, Iran right now, each time I hear the news like this, I get the goose people. Well, is this going to be it? Is it going to develop into nuclear war? And that's scary, and that's the reality we are living in. Maybe I got long-winded, but
I think everybody here wants to hear more from you. So, I don't think they mind if you give a long answer.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
If you feel like me, take action.
And so we do have a question from a youth individual from, her name's Ichika Yoshida, and she's from Niigata Prefecture. And she's going to be the high school peace ambassador representing Japan at the United Nations in Geneva next month. And her question is, what do you consider important when interacting with people who have different perspectives and values from yours?
Well, we have to listen to people who have different value, ideals, with respect, great respect, and we listen to them carefully, trying to understand. I guess that's the basic approach, and I've been trying to follow that. I want to share my personal experience about that. Several years ago at the United Nations, I was speaking to high school students from around the world. And everything was going well. Then pretty young lady had a question, but she was determined to nail me down. Anyway, her story was her grandfather, the Chinese, was treated so badly by a Japanese military man during the war. She was full of anger, and she said, I'm talking about nuclear weapon and how Japanese treated Chinese. I listened carefully, and I apologized to her. At that time of the war, I was only a 13 years old teenager. I was not involved in the policy making, making the decision for war or anything. But still those men are part of me, the Japanese man. I felt a part of collective guilt. So I simply apologized to her at the UN. And then I explained the different nature of the issues we were dealing with. I was trying to explain about the nuclear weapon which can eliminate the planet, annihilate the humanity. Anyway, I tried to explain the difference. And after the meeting, I shared tears with her, one-to-one. And a few years ago, I received a letter from a student from the University of Georgia. And she said, at the United Nations conference, when you were talking to us, the very nasty question was raised. It was me. It was I who raised the issue. I hope I didn't upset you very much, but you were very kind. You listened to my deep felt pain, and you responded to me very kindly. And she said she was going into science, but after consideration, she decided to switch to political science. She wants to become a diplomat to bring the reconciliation of people. And she had the idea, she wanted fellow students at that university to hear what I had to say. So since I couldn't travel to Georgia, I made an arrangement for a Zoom statement. But I thought that was a beautiful story, that because I carefully, respectfully listened to her, and we had reasonably agreeable conclusion at that time. Anyway, so she not only appreciated by herself, she wanted to share that with fellow students. She was the president of the university student body. So she created a huge opportunity for me to speak to the students. To me, it is a beautiful example of reconciliation and so on. I try to pay respect for the difference, opinion, values. We all come, especially in Canada, multiculturalism is essence. So I think we all have to, okay, that's it.
I know that people will say this like with her. I'm sure you're going to be changing a lot of people what they want to do in the future and how they want to continue to participate in this world. So thank you so much for your work on that. I think many of us noticed during the film that Canada hadn't ratified the treaty. So I would like to know, what would you like to see from Canada when it comes to nuclear disarmament and peace building? And what would you like to see again the people here do to work towards that?
Yes. When I went public with this issue in 1975, that was the 30th anniversary of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Toronto was much quiet. Nobody wanted to talk about nuclear weapons. I just wanted to make a noise to make the issue visible and talked about on a daily basis. Anyway, that was the time. But a lot has happened since then. I personally, there was Karen Goodfellow, she spoke before me. Well, she was, yes. She was one of the students we selected. Well, we offered essay writing contest with the Toronto Board of Education. And 2 students wrote outstanding essays. And they were selected to be sent to Hiroshima with me. I was a chaperone. And they're wonderful ambassador in Japan, sharing their life here in Canada and sharing their idea of peace. And well, CBC and NHK both made a documentary film about their visit to Japan. And when they came back, they shared their experience with the students here. And Mr. Mulroney, Prime Minister at that time, he invited Karen to come to Ottawa and let him hear what she could tell him. You know, it became such a huge, successful program. So anyway, that was a good thing which was happening. And the Pope visited us. We established a peace garden. we started this and that. The Toronto became a very noisy place on this issue. But I must say, the past 8-9 years, Canada has done nothing to contribute to this issue. Unfortunately. Well, that Prime Minister's father, Pierre, had a strong idea. He was speaking all over the place. I did personally hear him speak on this issue at the United Nations in 1987. He was talking about suffocating the nuclear arms race. He knew when he was talking about it, he was making enemies with the United States. But he was a strong, courageous man. He talked about it. And indeed, he made some enemies, I think, among the policy makers. But he gained huge respect from around the world because he was courageous to speak his mind. He pressed for the peace, disarmament. So, those things were happening, but I was very unhappy the past 8 years or so. I think we have lost the status as a champion of peace building, peacekeeping. After all, Canada became very famous because of Mr. Pearson's ideas. But we have lost that prestige, or the credibility. So I'm counting on the new Prime Minister for his policy ideas on this very issue of the nuclear disarmament. So that's it. I am hoping. I don't know yet exactly. He already committed to raise the military expenditure to 2% and then 5%.
Shame.
Time also. That's worrying me, but we have to give him more time to tell us what he has on his mind. But I think we have to be in communication with the politicians. After all, this is democracy. One person's opinion counts. And if you have good opinion, do share it with the decision makers and let him or let her make the issue in the parliament. Let them have the vocal debate in the parliament. And don't let just cabinet walk away like they do in Japan. Well, both Canada and Japan have not ratified this TPNW treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons. Yet, because both of them are members of either NATO and Japan has a special arrangement with the United States. So they can't afford to embarrass White House, Pentagon. It breaks my heart that my birth country, who has been getting feedback from survivors for the past 80 years, they know the issue fully well. But to them, the relationship with the White House is more important. What we have been saying is not just about our pity and sadness, loss of property and so on. We are talking about the survival of humanity, all people of all nations. Anyway, that's sad, but that's where we are. So, to that young gentleman, I want to study write and shake up the decision makers. Let their countries move to the right direction, not to be on the wrong side of history. Then, thank you. Thank you. I feel so supported. I feel great. Thank you.
I know you wanted to share with us something you brought here today.
Yeah, they have seen, yeah, I can share it, but they have seen it
Yes.
in the film.
Yeah,
Can
but I think maybe they'll want to see it today too in
Yes,
person.
I brought something to show you, just in case we have a moment to do this. Well, I travel with this around the world. I asked the Alumni Association of my girls' school in Hiroshima. I wanted them to write the names of my schoolmates, 351 schoolmates and some teachers. Each one of those Chinese characters means one human life. And 351 of them, they simply disappeared from the face of this planet. Please share my feeling with me when I say this. So I have been trying for the past 80 years to be their voice. I want to speak on their behalf as well as my own. It's so long, I won't bother, but this is many, oh God. You can see some names. I have memory of each one of them. And I'm carrying out their wish, their dream, but they have died. Well, they will be happy to see someday in the near future the great day will arrive when we get rid of all the nuclear weapons. Because as long as they exist, there is a possibility, there is no security, there is a danger that far more sophisticated, destructive weapons are going to eliminate all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much again for joining us today, and I know everybody here appreciated it so much. If we could give one more round of applause for
I never expected a huge crowd like this. I never expected this kind of positive audience. I am really joyously surprised. Thank you so much.
I just very quickly want to share these and introduce you, Mrs. Thurlow, to James. James lives in Hamilton,
James lives in Hamilton.
and he's 11 years old.
He's 11 years old.
And he just approached me asking me to give these to you for him.
He approached her asking if he could share it with her.
So they are origami cranes that he has folded with his friends and his family for peace. And they were working towards 1,000.
They're working towards thousands.
And he is just so
Let me
grateful.
shake hands.
Thank you, Karen. So, unfortunately, we do need to be out of the theater by about 6:20, but if people want to share a brief moment with Setsuko Thurlow, they can, in an orderly fashion, come to the stage.